Welcome to Was, the podcast exclusively for homeless men who live in water towers.
Sorry.
Let's try that again.
No.
I
wanted it. I wanted that.
Okay.
Just keep going.
We are your hosts as always. I'm Nick.
And I'm Andrew LZ, and I've always wanted to do that, and since I'm in control of the edit, it's happening anyway. So,
Sweet.
and that'll be all hopefully be seamless.
God. Oh.
Sorry, was that loud in your ears? I'm sorry.
Nope.
I wasn't even considering that.
Nope. I am still
On a high
pseudo panic attack mode from watching the movie that I watched today.
What did you see?
I saw a little movie called Barbarian.
Oh, that movie.
That
we're going to get into a little bit later. We're going to get it.
We talked about it a few times on the last couple of podcasts, and went ahead and saw that this evening.
You're welcome.
I have thoughts.
All right, perfect. I have answers. I also have thoughts.
Awesome.
But okay, hey, what did you see this week though? What did you like?
I've been watching some more Ring of Power. I think that it is done exceedingly well. So really excited to continue to ingest more of that, even though I absolutely hate Amazon to my core, and Jeff
I get
Bezos especially. I will give them the benefit of the doubt that they made a great show related to Tolkien things. I rewatched the movie Fletch.
Wait. With Rings of Power, unfortunately, I haven't watched it since that premiere date, so I've only seen the first 2 episodes.
Gotcha.
So I still have episode 3 and 4, which I haven't heard really anybody talking about though. But I mean, I think if anybody's still like the main consensus on Twitter, because Twitter's just full of negativity, you're only just seeing the remnants of people just angry at black elves.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like muted
and dwarves.
I muted all the mentions about Rings of Power on Twitter, so I didn't have to listen to their bullshit. So that was good.
What else were you saying you watched?
I rewatched the 1980s Chevy Chase starring film Fletch, which I absolutely adore. I cannot believe how great that movie has held up over the years. Now, backstory, I watched it because I don't know how I missed this, but out of the blue, a new Fletch movie was released yesterday.
I didn't know it was released. I've known about it. I didn't know it was released. I was expecting a theatrical. I haven't even seen trailers for this.
It is a limited theatrical release that started yesterday.
Okay.
And then it will show up streaming. Now, it is already streaming on premium video on demand, but it will be streaming on Paramount Plus if you have the Showtime tier, or on Showtime streaming service on October 28th, I believe.
Oh, so nobody's going to see it.
I mean, I have Paramount Plus with Showtime. So
I've got Paramount Plus. I don't have it with Showtime. I feel like
it only cost me $80 a year, so I figured it was well worth it to get, because I watch a ton of shows on Sci-Fi, or on Showtime.
Yeah.
Black Friday being one of them.
That's the show I always wanted to watch.
The show Billions is on there. Ray Donovan was really good, and you can rewatch it. The original Dexter, the first few seasons were good.
Yeah, that was on Showtime, wasn't it?
Shameless was on Showtime as well, so you can stream that if you're so inclined. A new show that I actually watched this week, The Man Who Fell to Earth is what it's called. And it's, the first episode at least was brilliant, so I definitely recommend, if someone does have Showtime or the Paramount Plus with the Showtime stream, to definitely watch that. But back to Fletch. Out of nowhere, I get an alert that Confess Fletch, a new film starring John Hamm as Irwin Fletcher, was coming out. And I'm like, what? I've never seen anything about this. So if Patton Oswalt gives it 5 stars,
Yeah.
like I'm down. That dude's cinephile credit is second to none. So
He also
the
does
cast is
just
pretty
flat out
ridiculously
support his
good.
friends, though.
Yes, true,
Which is
true,
fair. Which is fair.
which is fair. But I watched Fletch last night, in fact, with my wife, and we're watching Confess Fletch tomorrow. We did not get an
Nice.
opportunity to watch it last night. So,
Okay.
but the movie Fletch itself holds up.
Really?
Like
I meant to go rent it, but I
1000% holds
was
up.
just busy this entire week. So, but
If for no other reason, the aliases that he gives people are just brilliant.
amazing. It's kind of what
Yes.
probably James Roday ran with on Psych, probably.
A lot like that, actually.
Yeah.
But it's all famous people. So it's
Okay.
it's like at one point he's Harry S. Truman.
Okay.
He's Ted Nugent in the movie. It's great.
Amazing.
It's great.
Anything else? Or did you watch She-Hulk this week?
I have not had a chance to watch She-Hulk this week.
Apparently, according to like new rock stars and everything, they're like,
Mhm.
this is probably going to be people's least favorite episode, but I really enjoyed this episode. This was one of my favorites. Unfortunately, it was mostly centered on the storyline that Jamila Jamil's character copyright wrote She-Hulk before Jennifer Walters could. So
Okay.
she sues her, and it's basically the case of who owns the name. And I thought it was pretty fun. Jamila Jamil, her character, not what I was expecting. Like her voice and everything going in. I thought it was going to be probably British Jamila Jamil, kind of,
Mhm.
but she's kind of playing like a valley girl, which is a lot of fun. She was very self-conscious about her accent. She was worried about how people were going to relate
Really?
to it. But who knows? I mean, I thought it was fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. Um, did not like her originally, but the second scene in the courtroom, I loved her. I thought she was
Mhm.
hilarious. But and also the witness part in this court case was really a ton of fun, and not fun.
Intriguing.
It was Jennifer Walters having to put away her ego, which she doesn't really have that much of an ego, but she has
Mhm.
to put something on display that as a professional you wouldn't really want on display, but she does it to win her case. So but
Gotcha.
I enjoyed it, and John Bass is in it. He was in the last episode.
Oh,
He was the guy who was on the blind date, that on the Tinder date, or
gotcha.
whatever that app was called.
Mhm.
He was the one asking all prodding questions about her. He returned in this episode. Well, all four of the guys did, but
Gotcha.
yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was really awkward sometimes too, which I think Tatiana Maslany does best. So, uh,
Mhm.
and then Great British Baking Show came back yesterday on Netflix. I
You're
am in
so
fact,
excited about it.
yes. I mean, I'm believe it or not, I am recording a podcast tomorrow with our mutual friend Maggie.
I saw that. I saw you guys
I'm
talking
getting
about it
her
on the
in.
Twitters.
I'm getting her into this game. She's gonna hate me for it. But I'm actually going to be baking a red velvet cake because that was one of the challenges this week, and I'll put that on my on a separate YouTube stream as well. So I'm going to record myself making a red velvet cake. It'll be beautiful. But yesterday, before we get to talking about Barbarian, I saw a horror movie that came out this week.
Okay.
I saw Pearl. It is the sequel to X. X took place in
Prequel or
prequel. Yeah. X took place in 1979 on the same farm that is the setting of Pearl, and Pearl was in X. She was played by Mia Goth, and she played two roles in X, and she returned for this one as a younger version of Pearl in 1918.
Mhm.
This is not going to be a movie for everybody. This is going to be kind of divisive, kind of like The Witch was originally, before everybody like really started getting what The Witch was. But holy shit, there's one scene in this movie, and it has nothing to do with horror or anything like that. Well, it kind of does, and it's hard to talk about without ruining it. Mia Goth at the very tail end of the movie has a entire 6 minute long unbroken shot of just her monologuing, and it's talking about how she doesn't know if she's basically afraid that she's sick in the head, that she has like killer instincts in her, like to kill people, and it's just her reconciling with that, and it's just an amazing scene, just an unbroken beautiful monologue that I honestly, it's kind of the same case as Toni Collette for the Oscars for Hereditary. Mia Goth was so good. Like the rest of the movie, she's terrific. She's terrific. It's just a very slow movie, and it's not your typical horror because it's Ty West and Mia Goth. They both wrote it. They both produced it. So did Kid Cudi. But it's just the melding of two minds who came up with just this one scenario and could not stop coming up with more ideas for it. And which is there's going to be hopefully
a third one
this year. They haven't shot it yet, so they haven't started shooting yet, but I am hoping they can get it done in the next 3 months, because I would love for the most unexpected trilogy that all came out in a year. I would love
that's pretty freaking cool.
But man, I love Pearl. If you liked
I love
X,
the poster. Like, I even just love the poster. The posters.
Which one?
The one with her on the front in the center of the poster.
What's her face doing?
She's smiling.
Is it like a really hard smile? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're ever going to see the movie, but at the very end of the movie, when her husband walks in, and that's not a spoiler, he's in X. When her husband walks in, she just stops and says, "Howard," and then she just goes into that smile, and it kind of like does that like Looney Tunes where it just kind of closes in on her, and she's like, it's kind of slow, but not kidding, for like 3 minutes she held that smile.
Oh God.
And it was
uncomfortable.
It was funny at first because she was holding it, and then it became unnerving. It became painful to watch her, because like you could, like, she would reset her face every once in a while, but then she'd go immediately back into it. Like it'd be like and she, like I said, she held it for like 3 minutes, and at one point she starts crying while it's happening, because I imagine her face was just in pain. And it's one of the greatest performances, those two scenes alone. One where she never stops talking, and one where she doesn't say a word. Mia Goth is a gift to this year's horror and cinema in general. So it's really been a great year for female horror. Michigan won. Actually, weirdly enough, dude, this is the weirdest thing. For the first time in college football history, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke are all 3-0.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, but that's a cool, like, it's the first time it's ever happened. Like, basketball perennial powerhouses are all 3-0, because they're all not known for being football schools. North Carolina and Kansas, Kentucky have had good seasons semi recently, but Kansas and Duke really haven't. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Before we get to the soup du jour after some commercials, I do want to bring up a couple things. One, saw trailers for a few movies that I think look insanely good. Pray for the Devil, I think, looks like an outstanding exorcism horror film. Uh,
I saw the poster when I was walking out of Pearl last night, but I didn't see a trailer for it.
looks really good, in my opinion. The trailer for Amsterdam was before Barbarian
Yes,
for me.
that's been going for a couple months, but I
Yeah.
think then they just started ramping up the advertising for that again.
The cast alone makes me want to see it.
Ridiculous.
The trailer was even better than the cast, in my opinion.
I
You've got Christian Bale, you've got Margot Robbie, Robert De Niro,
John David Washington.
John David Washington. Good God, he is fantastic.
Yeah.
Just so many great actors.
You know what I really enjoy, because we all know Christian Bale is a great dramatic actor. The man's got just a good ear for comedy too.
He does. He's got great comedy chops.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I mean, I'm happy he seems to have loosened up a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
The other one I would say is Triangle of Sadness intrigues me. You sent me, hey, check out the Triangle of Sadness trailer. Well, the trailer was before Barbarian. I have no idea what is going on, but I'm fine with it. And it has Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson, yeah. I love Woody.
So, I mean, it's got to be better than the Garfield movie. So
cancel it.
Yeah.
Hashtag cancel culture.
They had to explain to Chris Pratt why he
hates Mondays.
Why he hates Mondays. Yeah. The other thing, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. What?
Yeah, I didn't even know about that one. Like my sister texted me about that like a couple hours before you did, about because she sent me a screenshot from our AMC A-List app, and I was like, I didn't even know about that.
When you open that app, does Nicole Kidman God,
I wish. I mean,
welcome you into the
if I could talk to anybody from AMC, I've got some ideas that aren't my ideas.
The only other thing that I want to bring up, because this actually excites me, is we just found out yesterday, possibly the day before, that Keanu Reeves is getting a sequel to Constantine.
Let's see if that happens, okay? I hope it happens.
They canceled the Constantine show for HBO Max when they greenlit this. I want more Constantine in my life, whether that is in Sandman season 2 and we get more of Joanna Constantine, or we get more John Constantine in the form of Keanu Reeves. I don't care. I just want more Constantine in my life. So that's all I wanted to talk about before we went to break.
I need that grittiness that the first Constantine movie had.
It was a ton of fun. It was so good.
It was so
good.
It
knew what it was about. It knew what it was about.
And then that last like set piece and with Tilda Swinton, and obviously Keanu Reeves, and then Shia LaBeouf ends up in part of that, and then we get Peter Stormare.
So good.
Yeah, his one-on-one with Keanu in that movie. Tilda Swinton,
really good.
In that last scene where she's trying to convince him to kill her, and it's all just so well done. And I think Rachel Weisz is in there somewhere. I think she's unconscious for most of that, but and then whenever Peter Stormare first shows up, we see Keanu in the far distance, like on the ground, on his butt, leaning against the wall, seemingly about to die. And then we see
reaches into.
We see 2 drops of just like not ash, but like magma on, and then tar, and then his feet just come down, and he's walking through the broken glass. He's walking through the broken glass, and Peter Stormare, I don't think he's ever looked cooler. Whenever he's playing Satan or Lucifer or whatever he is,
he was really that was a fun scene at the end. That's all I'm saying.
Jamin Hounsou was in there. I'd love to have him back. That was such that's one of my favorite superhero movies in general. So
I really enjoyed it, and I mean, it's streaming somewhere. I think it's on Netflix and on HBO Max right now. So check it
You have
out.
choices.
Yeah, you've got choices.
Yeah. All right. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's get into some commercials.
All right. Welcome back. Hey guys, it's that time. It's that. All right, Nick.
Welcome to the special episode of Was, where we talk about the most anxiety-inducing film that I've seen this year.
Well, I mean, I feel like we have to do a follow up of this one too, because last week was pre-Barbarian. This one's just going to be Barbarian and then Post-Barbarian.
Yes, Post-Barbarian.
I guess today will be Post-Barbarian, whatever.
Yes.
But yeah, okay. I want your thoughts because you literally hours out of it. Hours out of it.
Yeah.
I saw it again. I saw it for a second time this week, but I want to get your thoughts. I'm going to put down my mic for this.
Okay. So let me state for the record that I went in blind. I did not read anything about this movie. I did not watch any of the trailers. The only thing I knew was that Justin Long, Bill Skarsgård, and Georgina Campbell were in this movie. That's it. That's the only thing that I knew. And not to give away the plot, but I think it was for the best that I didn't know anything.
We're going spoilers in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, full spoilers, yes.
Full spoilers.
I'm just saying, not to give away my feelings, I'm glad I went in blind.
Yes.
This movie would not have been nearly as good if I would have known anything about it.
Yeah.
So that I want to start out with that. The first 40-ish minutes of this movie
are they how I described? Physically exhausting.
I was so anxious through the entirety of that 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to scream at Georgina Campbell's character.
Yeah.
For being a dumbass.
And all those red flags. No, she was smart at first. She was, yes. And she's smart through, like, eventually. But there's just all those red flags. They're just popping up, popping
one after another, really. Yeah. My man Bill Skarsgård at the beginning, doing his best to be not as creepy as he could have been.
Trying, dude. Yeah. And I'll talk about these entire first 40 minutes after you get your full thoughts out.
When he says, "I'm not a monster," all I could think about was,
Pennywise.
Dude, you're Pennywise.
That's intentional. That's intentional.
Yeah, I'm sure. But no, no hotel vacancies. She decides to stay at this Airbnb in the most awful part of town, in the most awful town apparently in America.
Well, keep in mind she's completely blinded to how everything truly looks.
She comes in there at night. It's raining. She's wet. She just wants to get out of the cold and have a place to sleep. I get it. The
keys, and she types in the code. The key's
wrong
not there
the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Wrong
see,
first.
And how great is that? Because because whenever she's saying the code out loud, you can see the code, and you know she's saying it wrong, and you're like, oh shit, that's gonna come back.
She's looking at her phone. I started saying the code to myself because that's what I do in those situations. Like in my head, I'm saying it, and sometimes I say it out loud as well. So that was like just an added piece of, oh god, this is too real.
That's why the first act of this movie is so perfect, especially if you go in blind, because you're just thinking, because you've seen a billion horror movies at this point, you are just thinking, okay, this is typical horror movie. This is going to come back. The fact that she got the code wrong initially, and then it all resolves itself. Yeah. And I'm not kidding. You think it's so many different types of movie until it becomes the type of movie it is.
Absolutely. No, you truly do. In the first 40 minutes, you are thinking that it is going to be one of at least 4 different types of horror films. It is, by the way, none of those. No, so when she comes back to the house after her interview and she's stuck in the basement and she finds that rope, she says the exact same thing that I said in my head in the theater.
Yeah.
As she looks down this hallway, she goes,
Nope.
nope.
Okay, and okay, I've got answers to that too, which is amazing because it's exactly what anybody would say. It's kind of and Zach Kreger, once again, who directed this movie and wrote this movie, he knew about Jordan's Peele's
movie.
Nope. He knew about Nope. So a couple of months ago, whenever he finished the pre-edit of this movie, he called Jordan himself. He's like, "Hey, can I show you this movie? I just want to get your I just want your clearance on a couple things." It was just that one thing, but he's like, "I just want your clearance on a couple things." And he takes it over to Jordan's house. They watch it together, and whenever they get to that scene, he's like, "Hey, I know your movie's called Nope. Is that going to be a problem?" And Jordan's like, "No, man, that's good. That's sweet. It's exactly what anybody would say. Like any rational person would say." And so Zach leaves. He shows them the rest of the movie. He leaves, and a couple months later, Nope comes out, and we get. Did you see Nope?
I have not seen it yet. No.
Okay. Daniel.
God, I want to though.
Daniel Kaluuya at one point, he sees something, and just goes nope, and then starts walking away.
Yeah.
And his doesn't work. Oh, I mean, they both work out kind of similarly, but but wait till you watch Nope.
I'm excited to see it. I just haven't seen it yet.
But yeah, whenever he went and saw Nope, he's like, "God damn it, Jordan, I told you," and like he wasn't mad or anything. He was just saying, well, it's actually okay that there's two giant horror movies that came out this year that both have. We're in just a completely different age of horror, so we're in a smart age of horror, which is cool. So anybody in the right mind would say no. So yeah. All right. Sorry. Where were we?
No, it's okay. So she's sitting in that basement, and then she goes down the hallway and looks in that creepy ass bedroom with the camera and the bucket, and I'm immediately like,
"Get the fuck out of there!"
Sorry, Bill. Sorry, Bill. Sorry for you, man. But she keeps going. What? Keith. Bill.
Oh no! Whenever he goes down, or the first time that she goes down.
When she's in there, my first thought was, sorry, Bill, because she's just going to leave. That was my feeling. I was like, she's just going to leave.
Were you not thinking it was Bill, though?
I did not at that point believe it was Bill.
Oh, okay. I mean, part of that first act is to trick you into thinking that it is Bill.
And I'll tell you why. Because when she wakes up and he's sitting there twitching and doing his thing, and her door was open, that basement door, that door in the back closes.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, Bill's not the guy.
I know.
Bill's not doing this.
I know that. I get that. But they keep giving you the red flags with Bill.
Oh, I know. And that's why, because there were so many red flags, one after the other, I knew it wasn't Keith. Like, Bill Skarsgård was, in my mind, Bill Skarsgård was out of the running for being a creepy dude at that point.
I did too, but I still had him in mind for being it. Because I was just going on the ride that Zach was putting us on.
Yeah.
So, because I was still we still didn't know what this movie was.
Yeah. Exactly. But when he goes down and then she goes down after him, and she just keeps going and screaming after him and just keeps going and screaming after him, I'm like, what are you doing?
Get out of there. Well, she doesn't know she's in a horror movie.
Well, I know.
And
but then she sees the cages.
I know.
I'm like, get out.
And then she gives it just another one of those keys.
My anxiety just continues to rise. I'm thinking I'm going to have a panic attack for this lady. And then we find Bill.
Yep.
Old Keith is there. And he says, the most unexpected words that I imagined to come out of his mouth. Somebody bit me.
And it was great. And then like he's giving her, oh, we can't go down that way, which
doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
no, that one doesn't make a lot of sense. There are holes in this movie. I said last week that this isn't a perfect movie, but
no,
this, and then okay, and then what happens?
Well, and then old Bill gets meets the
woman of the house,
ass end of the woman of the house, and she pummels his fucking skull into the wall.
Yeah,
and that's when I realized this is nothing like what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and then we see her. We vaguely see her. Yeah, we vaguely see her whenever she destroys his head, and then we see her, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then it cuts to black.
Also, just saggy titties everywhere.
Yeah.
I
mean, okay. The actor is 6'8", so I mean, I guess you have to do something to make it look. Yeah.
What I will say is, there was a woman sitting a few seats down from me.
Okay.
And when the woman of the house shows up, and the titties are there, and she screams, I hear this woman go, "Oh."
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Yeah, lady, we're all here."
Yeah. And then it cuts to black.
And then comes back on Justin Long,
singing down the turnpike,
just having the best of his life.
Okay,
until it's not.
Before we get into Justin, okay. So I mentioned I saw the movie a second time. The movie is so different on the second watch.
Time? Oh, I'm sure.
That first act is a completely different movie because where the result is. Now, besides everything from the music cues that put you in this tense situation, this movie, even with all the red flags, because there are plenty and they're intentional and they're relatable, I'm assuming. So despite the music, this movie entirely plays like a rom-com.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like it's a perfect like start to a rom-com until it isn't.
That about 35 of the first 40 minutes is a rom-com.
But that first watch, you're so tense because you're wondering what's going to happen.
When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When is the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah, but on the second watch, when you know exactly when it's going to happen, the entire movie just feels different. Like it's like your body, you're not tense, you're relaxed because you're just waiting because you know when the second act, you forget how horrific the end of the first act is. But it's not as bad on the second watch. She's not as, I mean, she's horribly, she's a monster, but she's not as horrifyingly shocking the second time.
I mean, that first look at the missus, as I will now call her, was,
or the daughter,
was a bit shocking.
Yeah.
In the best way possible.
Yeah.
But then we get to find a new monster, and that's Justin Long's character.
Yep.
Who is
what we don't know in those first like 30 seconds. And then, I mean, the phone call turns
real quick.
Yeah. And we and Justin Long is going to be held responsible for his actions. Rightfully so. He did something horrible, and he needs to deal with the repercussions of that. So,
well, I mean, we get that scene where he's talking to his like financial advisor, and he's obviously been cut off from acting engagements at that point. He's got no revenue coming in, all this revenue going out to fight in lawsuits because he's been credibly accused of sexual assault and rape. And all of a sudden, we see him in Detroit.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
one thing that struck me from that is with the financial advisor before he drops him, he's like, with your current rate of spending, at that point you need to
yes.
change your rate of spending.
Yeah.
You need to drop
Yes.
everything. So, but all right.
Yeah.
Then yeah, we find him in Detroit. He's going to sell off some properties that he owns there because it's his hometown. His lawyer finds out that he's left the state.
And was not happy about it.
And Justin Long remains blasé about it because
Yes.
he still thinks that he's going to come back from this, which is, once again, he's another monster in this movie, just a different type. So
yeah, the scene where he's in the bar drinking with his buddy and he's
explaining, but his
explaining that he did in fact rape this woman.
Yeah.
That filled me with anxiety as well.
Yeah. Because also you don't
numerous reasons.
Yeah, and also you're still not sure what movie you're in. Kind of like
exactly
because you're like
we got to the end of the first act and you're like, oh god,
this is an anthology?
But then it abruptly changes pace again.
Yeah, I was like, is this an anthology that we don't know about yet, or what is? I mean, anthologies usually all come together at the end, which this kind of is an anthology.
We were dealing with. Yeah, that's what I thought we were dealing with. Once he gets to back to the house from drinking, and he's like throwing up in the toilet, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, been there, been there, man."
Yep.
But in my head, also thinking, "You deserve all of it, you asshole."
Yes.
But then once Justin Long makes it to the basement, and
the comedy begins,
starts measuring the square footage of the secret tunnel in the basement and the rape room.
Yeah. And he's like,
and then
he comes back, and you think something's going to happen, and then he ends up back up in the main house, and he's Googling, does unfinished rooms in basement count as square footage?
But no, then when he goes down there and he's got the tape measure and he's like literally measuring things, and like he gets to the part of the secret tunnel where there are the cages, and he still continues to measure.
But the comedy beats are there.
Oh yes, oh absolutely.
Because I mean, it's still Justin Long, and it's edited so well.
It is,
because
it really
you're like,
is.
When is the shoe going to drop for him?
Yeah,
and it just like every single time that you think it's going to happen, Zach takes it from under you.
Yeah, that was.
I wish I was still in your mindset. I really do, because my brain is completely like rid of that first watch, because no, I think it's a defense mechanism. Because I was racking my brain. I was like, because I was describing this to my coworkers. I think I mentioned this last week. I was describing this to my coworkers, and I could not remember what she looked like. In fact, I barely remember what she looks like now, because I think it's just my brain protecting itself by blocking that out. This movie's incredible. Like the first time.
Yeah. When Justin Long gets into the pit, and then all of a sudden we abruptly change directions for the second time.
But we do find out
we
do find out Georgina Campbell's still alive, which is great to hear.
Yes, which is great. But when we're in flashback land in what I'm guessing is the 80s,
You're probably right around,
and watching this dude Frank go to the freaking Generals, or the like Woolworths basically, and getting the plastic sheets and talking
diapers
and like you just know what's coming because he's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And then he just sits there and waits for that woman
and
getting in the blue like hatchback.
Yeah, and it's perfectly shot.
Perfectly shot. I did want to bring up the cinematography of this film before I
was actually just about to bring that up too.
Um,
Whoever did it was great.
The whole movie is shot in such a way that, like, when we talked about that first, we'll call it 30 minutes, that's basically a rom-com. It's shot like a rom-com. And then when we get to the second act, it's kind of a nondescript movie at that point. But then when we get to this flashback and further into the final act of this movie, the cinematography changes directions again, and kind of these from behind shots and up high, and these kind of wide-eyed or fish-eyed shots down the barrel, basically. Those are really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And it gives this movie a really distinct feel. So like, kudos to the director of photography, or the cinematographer on this, because it's absolutely fantastic.
His name is also Zach, but Cooperstein.
Yeah.
He's based out of New York.
But no, I loved how the scene was shot where Frank was kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, stalking that woman. I do also appreciate the callback to the flashback when Justin Long finds Frank a little later with the dress.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is
and also
so damn creepy.
Yes, but also one of my favorite parts, while he's in the general store, the woman hands him like the breastfeeding tape.
The breastfeeding video, yes.
Yeah, which
comes back. We'll get to.
We saw the video previously, which actually I didn't know this, and this is actually one of my favorite little facts about like this entirety of this movie. Zach Cregers is married to Sarah Paxton.
Okay.
Who, I mean, her credits are like for me it's like the Innkeepers, but then she's also like everybody always brings up this one movie. I think Emma Roberts is also in it, Aquamarine. She's like a mermaid. She's voices
also in The Last House on the Left.
Yes, she voices the breastfeeding tape.
Oh God.
Whenever you go back and watch this movie, because whenever you look at the cast list, you find out Zach Cregger is, I think, a lawyer. The woman who played Justin Long, no, not Justin Long's mom. I hate bringing this up because it shouldn't be the only thing I can think of for right now, but do you remember the blind date that Michael went on in the office with Pam's like landlord?
Yeah.
Her. She's Justin Long's mom on the phone.
Like, oh, she's also Justin Long's mom in a movie, I want to say. Like,
I'm thinking of Ann Cusack in what's it called, in Accepted. That's what I was thinking of, but she might have played because so many people have played Justin Long's mom.
Yes, very true.
He always, like, he has great relationships with older people, a generation older than him. So, but because
anyway,
he's a brilliant comedic actor. Kate Bosworth is the woman who he raped that we hear her voicemail. That's Kate Bosworth.
Really?
So you can go back and like you can hear all these people's voices.
Yeah.
That you know.
Well, all I know is that once we cut back from the flashback into the pit.
Yes.
And Georgina is telling Justin Long basically to get his shit together.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, that slow
bottle
shot of the hair and then the bottle that comes in, that's when my anxiety started to
spike again,
creep back up. But she just kept shaking it at him, and he's basically like, "No, I'm not gonna do it." It's just,
and Georgina's just like pleading with him,
drink it.
Yeah, and then because she knows the rules, she's figured out the rules. She gets him, and she soothes mother, or whatever we want to call her. Mm-hmm. And then whenever she takes it back to Justin Long, he just fucking ruins it for himself, luckily. But so the mother takes out.
When she pulls him out though, and then pulls it back to that room.
Your mind's just racing, isn't it?
Oh.
You know,
God.
just basically off of the likely
You
turn
know
of
what's getting ready to
events.
happen. Yeah, you
Yes.
know what's getting ready to happen.
But it's your
But she,
brain. It's your brain. Like you don't think you're actually going to see this. I mean, I don't think we actually do.
Baba,
Yeah.
Baba, Baba. And she's
But
just trying to
Georgina,
force him on the teat.
but Georgina Campbell gets out. She
Yep.
does. She breaks the window. Whenever she finally gets up to the door and it's closed, I was like, oh fuck, she can't go downstairs. Is she gonna break the door or? But she gets out.
Well, then our friendly homeless man helps her out.
Yes.
Gets out the window, and the part of the movie that got to me the most, that like made me want to punch someone, was the scene with the cops.
Yep. And which is once again intentional.
Intentional. Oh, that was the worst.
Yep.
Absolutely the worst.
He's asking, "Do you have ID?" No, I was just a prisoner for I don't know how. And
I'm not a crackhead. She uses the sentence, "I'm not a crackhead."
But I mean, she somehow gets them to come back. I don't know how. They didn't seem willing
to help.
I just wanted to yell out, "Do your job."
Yeah.
Do your job. This is what your job is, man. Do your fucking job.
It's also Detroit. Not to make excuses, but I think that was probably purposeful as well.
Yeah.
But no, the home stretch of this movie though is bonkers.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Georgina goes down to get him
because she's not willing to just leave a man to die, which is admirable and which makes you love Georgina Campbell even more in this movie because she's already been great, but she's not going to give up, and she doesn't know he's also a monster. So she just sees a person who she knows exactly what situation they're in.
Justin Long does run into, I guess we'll call it the father, Frank.
Yeah.
And that whole scene is just super creepy.
Yeah.
And then I'm not 100% sure why Frank shoots himself in the head.
Well, it's basically what Justin said, that the cops are going to be here any minute now. Because he also knows that she got out. So that's, and he's not willing to go down with that. So not knowing that the cops won't show up. So
well,
that's my thought process.
I thought once they got out of the house after Justin Long fucking shoots her, I thought once they got out of the house that there would be like one last jump scream.
Yeah.
And then we'd be done.
Yeah.
Oh, how I was wrong. We meet up with our homeless friend.
Oh yeah, Georgina shot and clearly in need of help, but they can't go anywhere.
Just as soon as he opened his mouth,
that last sentence,
and said,
"I've been here."
Oh, I've been here 15 odd years, and she's never made her way in here. And then she busts straight
immediately
through the wall
in the most comical way, in the most Kool-Aid Man way,
and then rips off his arm and beats him with it.
And then Georgina and Justin Long are escaping.
Yes.
And they run into one obstacle and they decide to go up the water tower. Where do you plan on going from there? But they go up the water tower. Justin Long realizes that Georgina is the mother is already familiar with Georgina and she is already her baby. He sees no way out because he's dropped the gun because he's Justin Long. It's already established earlier because he drops the knife earlier. And he sees his only way out. Not both of us have to die. And he throws Georgina off the top of the water tower. And the most comical shot of the mother jumping
off to save her.
Yes. And she does. but just that initial shot of her, like, because you're still in a state of horror, but that's just the most
That
ridiculous.
was the most ridiculous way to show her
Yeah,
trying to save Georgina.
she cracks
I
her head on
was
the sidewalk.
I was
Justin Long
so
finds
confused.
Georgina,
Yeah. Tries to make amends with her as well.
tries to gaslight her basically.
Yeah.
um you slipped and I tried to catch you and you're fine
Yeah.
now, right? Yeah. Yeah, because he's a scumbag. It's
But
it's
then Mother
impossible.
makes
It's
it all better.
Yeah, Justin Long's impossible because he is both so good at being like the good person
Mm-hmm.
and then also being the most despicable person.
He's also really good at playing a porn star.
Very, I mean, it's the
He's
role he was born to
Randy Saint
play.
Rand, or what is it?
Randy Saint Randy,
Yeah.
I think. It was the role he was born to play.
Yes.
Um, uh, do you like
Anyway,
pussy? Do you like pussy? Yes, I do. Then you're not my
then you're
demographic.
not my demographic.
God, I might have to just watch those scenes from Zack and Miri Make a Porno. He is so great. I love Justin Long. Okay, but then yeah, Mother makes it all better, and just what, and also Justin Long's eyes are always being destroyed.
Yes.
Jeepers creepers.
Apparently they were made of pudding in this movie.
And also, luckily for Georgina, she is shot, so the mother can't handle her the way she'd want to, because she can actively see her in pain.
The way that she kisses her gnarly fingers and then like puts it on her forehead and her nose, he's like,
Yeah,
Bubba,
yeah.
Bubba. Oh
But
God.
it was great, wasn't it? Totally, this was 1,000%
The
worth the cinematic experience.
the the shot that happens once she does that, like when Georgina pulls the trigger
Mm-hmm.
and into the immediate credits, but then back to it, and we
Yeah,
get these like snippets of her walking away. Perfect ending.
yeah,
Absolutely perfect.
yeah. It was
No,
one of the best
this
cinematic experiences of the year.
as I texted you about it, it was the most awkward uh leaving of a theater that I've had since the Passion of the Christ.
I wanted to say that
Uh
last week, but I was, yeah. That was with more people though,
I believe
because I
why it was
imagine
so.
Passion of the Christ probably had a lot more people in it showing than
Oh, it
whenever
did.
you
It
saw.
did.
Yeah,
But this is a movie in 2022 in the middle. We're still in a pandemic,
yes.
and it cost me $13.50 to see this tonight, which
Yeah.
worth it. Do not
Was
get
it
me
by
wrong.
yourself? Oh, did you see it by yourself or
I
with your
went
wife?
by myself.
Okay,
I went
I
by
was gonna see
myself.
what did Melissa think, but
Melissa hates horror movies. In
okay, that's
fact,
fair.
one night she was out with her friends at a campfire, and I was here at the house by myself, and I was like, I'm gonna watch the new Halloween movies. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
give them a chance. She kicked me out of my own bed at 11:30 at night because she didn't want to watch the horror movie. So
Okay.
that's how much she dislikes that.
All right.
Um,
It's fair. It's not for everybody.
but I watched it by myself. Like I said, it was $13.50 to watch it like on a Saturday night. When we're recording this, it's difficult to get people to go to the movies for $13.50 when on on Tuesdays, all day on Tuesday, you can watch movies for $5.
Yeah.
Including new releases. Any movie theater, whether it's the extra large screen with the heated seats or the normal DLX or the normal screens with the recliners, like they're all $5 on Tuesday. So charging $13.50 for this film, or any film that matter, when you can watch them for $5 some other days during the week, that's a hard sell for some people.
Yeah.
It was about a half full movie theater though.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
This is in small town Missouri.
Yeah.
So I would hope that in bigger markets this has a bigger audience. I mean, it's already made back well almost double of what the budget of this film was.
It
And
won the weekend.
it did win the weekend. So, like, this movie has some buzz to
Yeah.
it.
I mean, and that's my thing for it is it also it's going to forever have that notoriety of being the number one movie, not just number one horror movie for
The
an
number
entire
one
week, a
movie at the
number
box
one
office. Yeah.
movie in the box office. And that just, it makes me happy because this is not a a run of the mill horror movie. This is because even the trailer, if you do watch the trailer, which I do suggest you now go watch the trailer, because you'll realize how much they didn't show. There's a couple shots from like her walk, like climbing up the water tower, and that's about it.
Oh, wow.
That are past where we see Bill right before he dies. There's very little footage before after that. So I do urge you to go back and watch it, because this movie did intentionally also not show you anything in the trailer, kind of like Nope. But yeah, this
I can say wholeheartedly that it now makes total sense that one of the people from The Whitest Kids You Know created this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it makes total sense now that I've seen it.
So I suggest this for any, obviously if you've listened to this, you've probably seen it, because we did give you spoilers alerts, and we just talked about the entire plot of the movie. Like I said, this movie unfortunately doesn't hit as hard on the second watch. I watched it less than a week after watching it for the first time. That's too soon of a turnaround, because unfortunately the movie was a bit lost on me. Like, except for that first act where it feels like a completely different movie, it doesn't hit as hard the second time past that first act. But like I said, if this movie comes back out for like a screening a night at a small theater next Halloween, I'm gonna go see it. I'm not gonna watch it in between it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna, like, just to experience it again, because like unfortunately my brain will still remember how that first act ends, but this movie is it's just another one of those. I make cases for these all the time. Some movies should be re-released because they, like, for like a week, like during a particular part of the year, like that movie with all the George Michael songs, that Christmas movie that came out like a couple years ago with Henry Golding and who's like one of the main women from Game of Thrones. What was her name? Last Christmas. It was a George Michael song. That movie should come out for like a week during Christmas. It's a very fun, just Christmas movie.
Love Actually.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's it called?
I was serious. I think Love Actually should come out every Christmas.
What the fuck?
Christmas film. Thank you very much.
Hey, best Christmas movie is While You Were Sleeping. I was watching it last night. Emilia Clarke.
The best Christmas movie of all time is Christmas Vacation. We've talked about this before. It was in my top 5.
Okay.
For 1987.
Okay. So therefore,
we've
yes,
had this conversation.
No, I agree. It's one of my favorites, but I already lost where I was going.
No, Barbarian. If this should get re-releases every once in a while in small, intimate theaters. 100% agree. I will watch this again next October, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would love to.
This movie was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
In the most anxiety-inducing way.
Yeah. But like I've been
legitimate edge of panic at certain points in this movie.
And I struggled to say, like, oh, don't go see this a second time. But I want this movie to continue to make money. But I will warn you that unfortunately it's not as great on the second watch. Yeah. No, it's still like, but you get what I'm saying. But like I said, I was saying earlier, this has been an amazing year for like female leads in horror movies. What's it
And we
called?
still have more to come.
Yes.
Like, go ahead. You give
Uh,
your list, and I'll say what I'm excited for.
Georgina Campbell, obviously in this. I was talking about Pearl earlier, and that's Mia Goth, which she's like, as I mentioned before, she was so amazing in it. Amber Midthunder and Prey was awesome, which can be considered horror. I'm going to consider sub, not completely horror, but in there.
Don't forget Scream earlier
I
this
know.
year.
I was getting there.
Okay.
But like I said, Mia Goth was also in X this year, and then hopefully Maxine later this year, which would be great. They also showed like certain X's and stuff from and Pearl that worked really well. But which also X had Jenna Ortega, who's also in Scream. Jenna Ortega was great in Scream. So was Melissa Barrera in Scream. Micah Monroe was great in Watcher. I'm sure Florence Pugh is going to be great in Don't Worry, Darling. I'm sure that's going to have some elements of horror in it. And then the girl from the movie Hatching. Not a ton of people have seen this. It's her. She's like 13 years old, 13 or 14. Her name is like Siri Solanina. She was great. Kiki Palmer was great in Nope. Yeah, this has been a great year of women in horror.
I thought that Daisy Edgar Jones was really good and Fresh.
I still haven't watched
If
that.
you
I
haven't
still
seen
need
that,
to.
That's on Hulu. Check it out.
Sebastian Stan's in that too.
Yes, he is. I mean, if we're talking about female leads in movies, obviously we need to talk about Jared Leto and Morbius. Because
have you watched it?
I'm sorry.
Have you watched it?
No, absolutely not.
You owe yourself to watch it.
Absolutely not.
You owe yourself to watch it. You have to know how bad it is.
I mean, it is free on Netflix. I guess I should.
It's bad. It's not. It was never going to be good. But the main reason why it's bad is the editing. Truly, there's a decent, like, there's a C grade movie in there somewhere.
It just was edited poorly.
Yes.
Have you seen the new Firestarter? I've heard good things about it with Zac Efron and Sidney Lemon.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay. It's on Peacock. I think I'm going to try to check that out. I've heard really good things about it. I've also heard good things about the movie Watcher.
Yeah, Micah Monroe and her. She was in It Follows, and I love It Follows. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any horror movies. I mean, did you mention Bodies? I know.
No,
that
I didn't
really
mention
high on that.
I did love Bodies. The girl who played, I wish I could remember her name. She played Rue in.
Are you talking about what is it, Amandla?
Yes, Amandla. Yeah, she was great. So was Rachel Sennett. So like the entire cast of that movie was terrific.
I need to as soon as that's streaming, I'm checking it out because there are no showings.
Yeah,
there are no showings in Cape.
No.
That, so
Bodies was great. I'm sorry I missed that one. But
have you seen Orphan First Kill yet?
No. Okay. I like that girl. She was like, I hate bringing it back to that, but she was also in that same Hunger Games movie that Rue was in.
Yeah. I really I'm intrigued by The Invitation. That's a female led horror movie that appears to be about vampires, would be my guess.
It looks like Ready or Not, just with vampires.
That's what you were telling me. I want to see it. I saw one trailer for it. There's a movie called Smile coming out at the end of this month.
Yeah, September 30th. I'm gonna see it.
It looks interesting to say the least.
But I have a feeling it's going to be like that movie Truth or Dare that came out a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the vibes I'm getting. But who knows? It could be great, and I want it to be great because I want great horror movies out there. So
I think for me, to end out kind of my views on not only female driven horror this year, but horror movies this year. The two that I'm most excited about, I believe it's going to be a horror film, The Menu or Menu.
It is, yeah, it should be. Ray
With
Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes and
Who's the
Anya
female?
Taylor-Joy
Anya Taylor-Joy,
and
Nicholas
Nicholas
Hoult.
Hoult. I think that looks super intriguing.
I watched the first trailer that came out like a month or two ago, and then whenever the trailer comes up again, because I have a feeling it's going to show too much, I've just not been watching. I haven't been watching the trailer for that. I haven't watched a single trailer for Halloween Ends.
Well, and that was what I was going to end on myself. Like,
yeah.
My most anticipated horror movie for this year is Halloween Ends. I thought Halloween,
I like the first
2018.
2018.
Thank you. I thought that was absolutely
I loved
brilliantly
it.
done. Cannot express enough how well I thought they did with that.
I hated Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills was okay.
I just hated it. I
didn't think it was
I wish
terrible.
I wanted to love it. It was completely different tonally than the first than Halloween.
It was definitely a weird movie comparatively.
And then also I hated the end of it. Hated the end of it.
I get it.
It pissed me
off.
Not as much as no, I don't think there's going to be a single movie that pisses me off more than Jurassic World Dominion.
Probably not.
I don't think there's ever going to be a movie that pisses me off as much as that one.
But I don't know. There's something about Halloween Ends, the intrigue of it, that
this will be the end. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the end of this journey. Like, we're gonna get other Halloween movies in the future, obviously.
We're gonna get more Michael Myers.
But this is the last of Laurie Strode.
Yes.
You know, this is the last of this iteration of Michael Myers, and there's something intriguing about that for me. So I'm really excited to see that, and that comes out October 14th.
I'll have to get excited for that one just because, like I said, Kills just kind of turned me off. But
I did rewatch the original Carpenter Halloween.
That's perfect.
And God, it's so damn good. And then rewatched the 2018 Halloween, and that's a really good movie. Like, it's really well done.
An amazing spiritual sequel, technically.
Yeah,
not spiritual, but
like, it's a legitimate sequel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love horror movies. We're in spooky time, so that's why we're talking so much about horror.
Times.
Horror for this month and next month.
I will be watching a shit ton of horror in the month of October. My goal is to watch 31 different horror movies this month.
It's harder than you think. It's harder
I know
than
it
you
is.
think.
I'm sure it's
the best I've done, because I've tried to do it the last 3 or 4 years. The best I've done in a month, in the month of October, was 25.
Well, let's try to one up ourselves.
I was also just trying to do one a day. I didn't try to stack them.
Yeah.
So,
the only other thing that I'm going to try to watch in the coming week is going to be The Black Phone as well. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
I still need to watch it. Still need to watch it.
But I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. So
yeah, I mean, it's Ethan Hawke too, and I'm going to watch Ethan Hawke do his thing.
So yeah, what a fantastic year for horror. I will probably watch Nope
when it comes
this
out.
upcoming week.
Yeah.
It's streaming already.
You can pay for it, but it'll be on HBO eventually.
Stream it on VOD for $20 in 4K and be probably really happy about that streaming, to be honest with you.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, if you pay for it, I imagine you're going to get a better quality version of it than just streaming it, like if it does come to HBO. But yeah. All right, hey guys, please do us a favor. Please rate, review us on iTunes and no, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it. 5 stars if you want. Tell us what we should be talking about, hopefully. And yeah, man, I love doing this show because I love talking to my friend about I love talking
about
to
movies.
my friend. Yeah, it felt wrong for some reason. I questioned my grammar. I'm gonna keep that in. Fuck it. I was questioning my grammar. I love talking about
movies. Period.
And this is just an
And
excuse for us to take an hour and a half out of our day.
Yeah.
So
definitely do like the man said, and rate and review us on the podcast streaming service of your choice. Follow us on social medias, like he said. I am at Superman's_Papa on Twitter. You can find the show at was_the podcast on Twitter. Drew, where can they follow you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at AndrewLZCom. And you can also find the show on YouTube, where this recording will be, where I'm wearing a Michigan shirt and Nick's probably wearing something St. Louis sports related.
Nope.
It's Newfound Glory. Hell yeah.
Stones.
Nice. And then also I do want to send out a little congratulations. I'm going to say more of an acquaintance of mine. We've met each other a couple times, about 5 times. He's remembered my name the last 2 times, so I'm going to give it an acquaintance. Michael Longfellow of Phoenix Comedy made it on SNL. He is going to be a featured player this upcoming season, and I wish him luck. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's all we ask of you. I love talking about movies. I like talking about
go see Barbarian.
Please go see it once.
Barbarian.
Do yourself a favor, see it once, then see it again next year.
Yes.
Nick, I'll see you next Tuesday, all right?
Get vaccinated.
Bye.